Now, 15 of the remaining 80 abducted students of Bethel Baptist High School in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria, have been released from captivity. The chairman of the Kaduna State chapter of Christian Association of Nigeria, Joseph Hayab, confirmed their release to Arise News. According to him, the students were released on Saturday night by their captors. An undisclosed amount of money was paid before the 15 students were freed. A group of bandits had raided the school in the early hours of July 5th, 2021, and abducted 121 students, according to official figures. Some of them have been released in batches since then.
Although the number is smaller than what we were expecting, because we had 78 out there, they've given us 15, that means 63 to come. But in everything, God says we should give thanks, and we are giving thanks for what He has done, and we are trusting that the same God who has brought these 15 out is going to help us to receive the other 63. We have great hope in God, and we keep praying and keep asking God for help.
In between our last meeting with you for the release of the 28th, I know you have heard that some of them escaped. So that is why you can see the figure is not following whatever we said earlier. The bandit is asking us to give them something. And we want to thank God for well-wishers, relatives, and the Church of God, who actually have been supporting to see that our children are being released.
And joining us to discuss this further is the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter, Reverend Joseph Hayab. Welcome, Reverend.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone.
We're hearing about the situation on ground. Can you give us just a brief analysis of how the parents and everyone is feeling about what's going on?
Well, the parents of the 15 children that came back day before yesterday are happy, but the parents of the 63 children that have not yet returned are sad and actually really worried, because this is the second time children are being released, but they keep releasing in piecemeal. They collect money for every arrangement, but when they want to release, they release just few. You can imagine a father or a mother who has not been with his child for the past 45 days. You can imagine the agony, sitting down and hoping that your daughter, your son is coming back, only to see few coming back and yours is not yet back. And you know that in the contribution of money to give to the bandit, we've always done it collectively. So it's not like, I paid and the other person didn't pay, that's why my child or my son is not back. So this is actually a painful situation. These bandits have turned to terrorize us, dehumanize us, traumatize us. They put all of us, including the parents, in a very bad situation. But as you heard from the president of the Nigerian Baptist Convention, that we have every reason to still be happy that 15 of them are back. So we hope that others will come back very soon. But the truth is that the bandits are still asking for money. And knowing the security or the financial situation of Nigeria now, where do you get such money to be giving bandits?
And maybe that's where I'm going with the question. We really do, we celebrate with the children who've returned, but we do feel the pain of the outstanding children with the parents. I'm just trying to tally the numbers here. 121, it says, were kidnapped July 5th. And so far, it would seem that, apart from the 15 that were released, that would mean that another 43 must have been released prior to this or escaped if we're still waiting on 63. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're right. 63 are still being expected. The truth is that even those who escaped eventually fall into the hands of some criminal, because 4 of them, 3 fall into the hands of one criminal who kept them for over 8 days. And we eventually had to give him money before he released them. Another one criminal who also picked one of the child who escaped, kept him and demanded money. We had to buy a handset for him, recharge card, and then give him some 120,000. You see, these children have gone through hell. Sometimes I just feel the pains of these children. Apart from that, the school has been shut. Those graduating students couldn't write NECO, and WAEC has started now. They cannot write. You can imagine how our lack of proper security in the country has put innocent children in a very tight, in a very bad situation. They've actually lost everything for now. You need to do a lot to help them recover. You need to do a lot to help their parents to pick up their pieces and continue, because such kind of situation shouldn't be. When children like this continue to face these kind of things, how do you expect them to grow to be committed, patriotic to their country? I've always hammered about this, because A nation that does not care for our citizens cannot just require or demand from our citizens patriotism. So this is where we have problem, and this is where we challenge our government to live up to expectation, because children are not happy, parents are not happy.
Okay, sorry, Reverend, maybe the question I wanted to ask on the back of doing that tally was, how are the monies being raised? Are you in a position to disclose that to us?
Yeah, honestly, it's very simple. Number one, parents have always tried to raise money, and I can tell you that many of them borrowed because the first time they were all asked to raise about 500,000 each. Many of them borrowed the money. Their children didn't come back. Now and again, we have to ask them again to raise another 300,000 each parent. Some of them couldn't even afford it. So we have to go to spirited Nigerians, individuals, groups, pleading with them to support. And you can imagine this, the kind of treatment you receive at the time everybody is poor, suffering to soft needs, and you're asking him to pay money for ransom. And sometimes people will even ask us, okay, when we give this money, how are you sure they're going to release? And this kind of action by the bandits, we keep discouraging people from helping, because even if you raise the money and give them, they will eventually release just 5 or 10 or 20 and still keep others. So they are asking for more money. But you have no option. If you refuse to raise the money, the children will remain there. They've been there 45 days. You can imagine them staying another 45 days. That will be disastrous.
Completely disastrous and very traumatizing. Speaking of the trauma of the children and the experiences that they may have had in captivity, have any stories been shared about what their treatment might be like while they're in captivity, and to assess the level of trauma that they do have once they're released? Can you speak to us about that?
Yeah, truly, I also work with an organization called Global Peace Foundation. Last week, we arranged a program for victims of the kidnapping in Kaduna, especially students from Federal School of Forestry, Greenfield University, and then those who had returned from Baptist High School, and even parents that were expecting their children. Some of the testimonies are quite frightening. One of the child said something that is really, really shocking. She said she cannot go to the market now because a sight of a particular color of food flask could just scare her and she will start running. Can you imagine that? Just a sight of a particular color of food flask in the market will bring back memory of the evil that happens to them in the bush. So it is really a difficult thing. And that's why we want to appeal for as many NGOs to come into Kaduna and begin to do a trauma healing counseling for these children. Most of these parents don't even have money to go to any social specialist and pay. So if there are people who will come and do it free, willingly, as their own contribution, we will really appreciate it, because the number is more than what one group can handle. So we are appealing to Nigerians and groups that are involved who have specialties in this field to come and help these children, because if we do not work on them, the chances is that this trauma they are going through will become their problem in the future.
Thank you so much, Reverend Joseph Hayab, for making time to share with us your deal, and congratulations, and keep doing what you're doing. We hope Nigerians listening will be able to rally to your support. Reverend Joseph Hayab,
thank you
Chairman.
Much, and I thank your studio for helping us to air such views all the time.
Thank you. Reverend Joseph Hayab, the Chairman, Kaduna State Chapter, Christian Association of Nigeria.